Whenever there is news about wars and armed conflicts happening in different parts of the world, religious preachers would claim that such terrifying events are signs of the end of the world, and of the second coming of Jesus. To prove it, they would cite what is written in the Bible, particularly in Luke 21, verse 7, and then proceed to read verses 10 to 11. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? Luke 21, verse 7. Christian preachers would claim that the topic that Jesus and his apostles are talking about were signs of the coming judgment day. After reading Luke 21, verse 7, Christian preachers read Luke 21, verses 10 to 11. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Luke 21, verses 10 to 11. By reading the Bible in the said pattern and relating it with the ongoing wars and armed conflicts, religious preachers would then convince their followers that the said events are signs of the second coming of Jesus and that the coming judgment is near. As a result, rather than uniting with other people to make a solid stand to stop wars, their followers view such tragic events as paving the way for their upcoming salvation and the coming of Jesus. However, by reading the Bible revelations of the late Teacher Evangelista in the website www.name.ph, we may learn that what Jesus said in those Bible verses does not pertain to the coming end of the world, nor does he talk about his second coming. According to the late Teacher Evangelista, in order to fully understand what event Jesus was referring to, we will be reading Luke, chapter 21, from verses 5 to 11. Let us begin our reading. And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, As for these things which ye behold, the days will come, in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. Luke 21, verses 5 to 6. In this passage, Jesus pertains to a coming event where temples decorated with gems and offerings will have its end. Let us continue in verse 7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? Luke 21, verse 7. Question: what would make this particular temple stand out? We should adequately ascertain because other temples or institutions have many offerings, like the government and organizations that receive donations. What makes this particular structure stand out? And when will it be destroyed? Let us discover the answer by reading Luke 21, verse 8. And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them. Luke 21, verse 8. Long before, Jesus had warned us about the significant number of preachers who will preach in his name and that they will claim that he was the Christ. Jesus gave a specific instruction that we should not follow their teachings so we will not be deceived. Therefore, to identify the temples that are destined for destruction is simple: they propagate that Jesus was the Christ and the time is near. Those temples with the said doctrines will be leveled to the ground because they have deceived many. We can understand the temples that Jesus was referring to are the churches and structures which represent the teaching that he, Jesus, was the Christ and preached that the time is near or that the end of the world is near. These are none other than the religions that highly regard Jesus. What are the signs that the time of the end of their deception is near? Let us read Luke 21, verses 9 to 11. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Luke 21, verses 9 to 11. As said from the passage, all these wars, great earthquakes, pestilences, floods, diseases, and fearful events or violent events that we witness at present through TV and the internet are signs of the coming end of religions. It is not about the imminent end of the world. How do we know that God will not and will never put an end to our world? Let us read the answer in Ecclesiastes 1 verse 4. Generations come, and generations go, but the earth remains forever. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 4. The world is forever. People should not fear the end of the world, for God decreed long ago that the world will not end. The question is, why do these events have to happen for the religions to be exposed? What did God say long ago why we would be experiencing all the suffering today? Let us read in Deuteronomy 11 verses 26 to 28. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you today, and the curse, if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way which I command you today, to go after other gods which you have not known. Deuteronomy 11, verses 26 to 28. God through his prophet Moses had already given us a choice to either live under his blessing or curse. Like Adam and his wife Eve in the Garden of Eden, God gave us free will. A choice on how we lead our lives. We can enjoy a good and happy life if we follow his commandments, but we will suffer pain and hardships if we disobey them and worship other gods we have not known. How will we know if we are experiencing blessings or curses from God? Let us read in Deuteronomy 28, verses 58 to 61. If you do not carefully observe all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God, then the Lord will bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and prolonged plagues, and serious and prolonged sicknesses. Moreover, he will bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt, of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in this book of the law, will the Lord bring upon you until you are destroyed. Deuteronomy 28, verses 58 to 61. We can understand that the spread of virulent viruses like the ongoing COVID-19 virus, AIDS, Ebola, and deadly natural disasters such as destructive hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes not recorded nor experienced in the time of Moses are signs that the world is under God's curse. This is because we do not follow his true commandments. We worship false gods because of the religions. We do not call on his real name. Is this true? Let us read Psalm 79, verse 6. Pour out your wrath on the nations that do not acknowledge you, on the kingdoms that do not call your name. Psalm 79 verse 6. As stated in the said Bible passage, the reality of why God does not hear our prayers and instead experience all this suffering is that we do not call on his name. We did not know this because the religions taught us false names and laws about God. We can understand now why Jesus said we should not follow the church's teachings and why their houses of worship are destined to be destroyed. Is it true that there is a prophecy in the Bible about the coming end of the religions? Let us read in Zechariah 5 verses 1 to 2. I looked again and there before me was a flying scroll. He asked me, "What do you see?" I answered, "I see a flying scroll, 30 feet long and 15 feet wide." Zechariah 5 verses 1 to 2. According to the late Teacher Evangelista, the flying scroll symbolizes the advanced system of communications, the satellite communications, the Internet, the cable TV network, and other new technologies which did not exist in the prophet Zechariah's time. Zechariah, during his time, was just given the privilege to see a glimpse of the future. As proof, when Zechariah was asked about the flying scroll, he can only describe it in the vocabulary or his intellect in his own time, hence the flying scroll. This means that the prophecy is not to happen in his time. What is the meaning of the revelation? And he said to me, "This is the curse that is going out over the whole land, for according to what it says on one side, every thief will be banished." Zechariah 5 verse 3. The meaning of the flying scroll was the curse given by God concerning the thief and those who swear falsely. Who are they, and what will happen to them in time? Let us continue our reading in Zechariah 5 verse 4. The Lord Almighty declares, "I will send it out, and it will enter the house of the thief and the house of him who swears falsely by my name. It will remain in his house and destroy it, both its timbers and its stones." Zechariah 5 verse 4. According to the late Teacher Evangelista, this prophecy pertains to the thieves and those who swear falsely in God's name. They will perish at an appointed time, and all their houses destroyed. Therefore, the symbolic flying scroll bears the message that would reveal the thieves who swear falsely on God's name. The houses of thieves who swear falsely on God's name are the religions. Through the internet or flying scroll via the website name.ph, the whole world is now witnessing how the religions are being exposed through the Bible revelations of the late Teacher Evangelista about the real name of God and the real Jesus. Question: why are the churches described as thieves in Zechariah 5, verses 1-4? Answer: according to the late Teacher Evangelista, all the money offerings that these religions ask as tribute, whether in the form of tithes or donations from their believers, will be now known as a great scam, since what they have taught about God, especially about His name and also about Jesus, were not true. It was also mentioned on the said website that religious leaders need to return all the money offerings, tithes, and properties that they have received from their church members and followers because of their false teachings. Let us now know God's true name, His true teachings, and the real identity of Jesus in the Bible, by visiting the website www.name.ph. The website does not promote a new religion or faith, but only to share God's true message. Also, to receive notifications about the latest videos regarding Teacher Evangelista's Bible revelations, kindly hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.